Sacred be the gift of living water, precious be the fruit of every land. Cherished be each creature, holy be each neighbor, blessed be the goodness of God's hand. Sacred be the task of transformation, eager be the heart to understand, tender be the care, ardent be the prayer, urgent be the call of God's command. Sacred be the gift of living water, precious be the fruit of every land. Cherished be each creature, holy be each neighbor, blessed be the goodness of God's hand. Sacred be the task of transformation, eager be the heart to understand, tender be the care, ardent be the prayer, urgent be the call of God's command. Sacred be the gift of living water, precious be the fruit of every land. Cherished be each creature, holy be each neighbor, blessed be the goodness of God's hand. Sacred be the task of transformation, eager be the heart to understand, tender be the care, ardent be the prayer, urgent be the call of God's command.
Thank you for joining us again today for CSJ Together for 15. As we take 15 minutes to pause in our day, to reflect on the CSJ charism and how we're working to create a more just world for all. In the 2019 chapter for the CSJ community, they talked about being beacons of hope. So today we take a moment to reflect on how we are personally striving to be beacons of hope in our daily actions towards the environment and racial justice. Today we spend some time with Sister Joan Mitchell reflecting on her daily practices. Welcome, Sister Joan. Joan, thanks for joining us today to talk a little bit about the CSJ charism and our connection to caring for the earth. And I guess just to start off with, I'm wondering, what do you personally do to stay grounded, connected to the earth in your own spirituality and daily practices?
I weed. All summer I've been going outside and weeding the thistles and all the invasive things in the water, in the gardens outside, and then I don't think I get back in my body and kind of become a whole human person. So that's one of my abiding practices. I used to always spend time in the garden when we had a house, but now we don't. But I have more gardens actually now, so that's one thing.
Where do you go to, turn to for hope, inspiration, maybe spiritual, theological grounding right now in this time when we think about the environment and everything going on?
Well, I think again, nothing clears my head like weeding. There are a lot of things to weed out in our society too. So it's kind of empowering to demolish a bunch of thistles, things that are sticking, painful. I think the teachers in my life, I mean, some of, I have a niece who's teaching, who's got kids down the street on West 7th that are immigrants and what they're going through. But I think all these teachers that I've encountered in Hedgerow have made a big difference to me in hope. Massengill, Brian Massengill, and Kelly Brown Douglas, and Elaine Pagels, Sean Copeland. They have, I think, the power of people's individual voices to talk about their experience is so great. And I was so touched in Toni Morrison and in Sean Copeland's use of both of them, their use of the slave narratives. I think so many people talk about the experience of slavery among African Americans, and to hear people talk about it in their own voices is so powerful. And in fact, they never gave up hope. There was always hope. Mm-hmm. It's often all they had, I think. And that's a powerful presence still. We used to just learn about the African American experience from white historians. And well, now if you watch Henry Louis Gates, you hear the most beautiful stories that come out of families, where we hear families' memories of the experience and some of the things people did to fight and to persist in resisting. And it is like a dose of hope, really, in their suffering, but in their constant contention with it, never giving up.
Well, I'm wondering, you were a part of the 2019 chapter down in St. Louis, and a part of that chapter was this commitment to respond to the crisis of the earth and global warming, and also a deepening awareness of dismantling interlocking systems of oppression. So having been a part of that chapter and kind of right now, where do you see the CSJ community moving in terms of care of the earth and work on environmental justice and racial justice issues?
Obviously have to keep at it over and over and over again. I keep thinking, though, it's hard to think sometimes what you do matters, but McDonald's serves salads today, and they didn't used to. They were counting their burgers into the billions, and all through the 80s and 90s there, it changed, and they changed. So I think when you keep at it, and even though you can't see the impact of lots of us together, it will happen. I mean, I know that pollution is bad, but on the other hand, DDT is gone. Smog is better in LA. Now we can take on plastics. I think when we take things on, we get things done. It matters.
Well, it matters, and maybe that's the inspiration we need for today, is remember it's a lot of little acts that add up to big acts, and it might be pulling weeds today, or it might be not using that plastic bottle tomorrow. And so thanks, Joan, for just reflecting with us a little on not losing hope, but also finding the small acts that we can all do together to make the world a better place.
Thanks for the interview.
As Marty said, we are so grateful to Joan for sharing her wisdom with us today. Weeding and getting our hands right into the dirt can certainly be so cathartic and help us to weed and tend those areas in our life, in our neighborhoods that need our attention. So once again, we're invited to keep at it, to be active. Maybe it's literally getting outside of ourselves and into the dirt. Maybe it's weeding away that which keeps us from being grounded in goodness, and grounded in hope, grounded in God. Before we depart today, we want to invite you to the Federation Justice, Peace, and Integrity of Creation team, who is today and tomorrow hosting a conference. And we as the CSJ community are invited to watch on your TVs on channel 991. Brianne Moy is speaking today on environmental racism. She comes to us from New York, and she is an activist in the climate and environmental justice movement on environmental racism. So again, join us again today here on this channel, and we wish you peace.
For the world, we raise our voices for the home that gives us birth. In our joy, we sing returning home to our blue-green hills of earth. For the earth forever turning, for the skies forever